Imagine you're managing this massive manufacturing facility.
Okay.
It's Tuesday morning. And, before you have even had your first cup of coffee, a robotic arm on assembly line 3 detects a microscopic vibration anomaly.
Oh, the absolute worst time for something to go wrong.
Right. But here's the thing. Within milliseconds, the system it cross-references that tiny vibration with years of historical wear and tear data.
Wow.
It determines a specific gear is going to fail in, say, about 14 days, and it automatically orders a replacement part from a supplier in Germany.
Completely autonomously.
Entirely. It even goes ahead and schedules the maintenance for a planned shift change next week, so your production output never dips.
Which is incredible.
10 years ago, that scenario was pure science fiction, but as of July 2026, it is rapidly becoming standard operating procedure.
It really represents a total inversion of how we think about managing a business.
Yeah.
You're no longer waiting for something to break to figure out how to fix it. The operation is actively managing itself.
Which is a lot to wrap your head around, honestly.
Definitely.
And whether you are a business leader prepping for a strategy meeting later today, or you are just a naturally curious learner trying to keep up with the future of work, the sheer volume of AI news out there right now is daunting.
It's overwhelming for everyone.
We are constantly hearing that the ground is shifting beneath our feet,
Right.
but rarely does anyone actually explain the mechanics of that shift.
Exactly.
So our mission for today's deep dive is to cut right through that noise. We are going to explore how AI is fundamentally rewiring the way businesses operate on a daily basis.
Taking those old school traditional management frameworks and giving them an incredible upgrade.
Yes, moving past the theoretical hype and looking at the grounded operational reality of how work is actually getting done.
Right.
To do that, we are looking at a really fascinating piece published in July 2026 by Technology Review. It's titled Achieving Operational Excellence with AI.
It's a great piece.
Yeah.
It lays out this entire evolution so clearly.
It really does. It focuses heavily on the real-world mechanics. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because to truly grasp how this new technology is changing the game, we have to understand the old rulebook it is currently rewriting.
Right. You have to look at the predecessors.
Yeah, the article points us back to the foundations of our current moment, specifically Lean Six Sigma and Business Process Management, or BPM.
Yeah, and you really have to look at the corporate landscape before these frameworks took hold to understand their value.
It was messy, right?
Oh, historically, business operations were often chaotic, departments were totally siloed, inefficiencies were massive, and a certain percentage of errors was just accepted as the normal cost of doing business.
Just part of the deal.
Exactly. Lean Six Sigma came in to change that culture. It introduced strict statistical rigor and quality control.
Okay.
The entire philosophy was about measuring defects, analyzing variances, and just ruthlessly eliminating waste from a manufacturing or business process.
And then Business Process Management, BPM, stepped in right alongside it.
Yeah. Where Lean Six Sigma brought the statistical math, BPM offered the comprehensive mapping of workflows.
Got it.
It was this ambitious attempt to document, step by step, exactly how a piece of work traveled from point A to point Z across an entire global organization.
So trying to find order in all that chaos.
Right. Their shared promise was to take those unpredictable operations and streamline them into structured, highly repeatable processes.
I want to keep this grounded, though, because terms like workflow mapping can sound pretty abstract to people outside the industry.
Oh, definitely.
So think of it this way. Imagine you are looking at a sprawling, chaotic metropolis. Business Process Management, BPM, is essentially the act of drawing a highly detailed, intricate map of that city's entire traffic grid.
That's a great way to picture it.
You are documenting every single stoplight, every one-way street, every intersection. You are mapping exactly how the traffic is supposed to flow under normal conditions.
And to put that in real business terms, think about a global logistics company in, say, 2019. Their BPM initiative would be mapping the exact journey of a shipping container from a factory floor in Shenzhen to a retail shelf in Chicago.
Every single step.
Every single one.
Yeah.
They would document every customs checkpoint, every warehouse transfer, every handoff.
So you have this incredibly detailed map, And then Lean Six Sigma acts as the rigorous safety inspections required for every single car driving on that grid.
Yes.
You are checking the brakes, the tire pressure, the engine timing on every single vehicle, right? Just to ensure that absolutely no breakdowns happen to clog up those mapped out roads.
Exactly. And applied to our logistics company, that meant deploying teams of analysts to measure exactly how long each warehouse transfer took.
Sounds expensive.
Very. They were finding the standard deviation and implementing strict rules to ensure the defect rate, like a damaged container or a missed deadline, dropped to near zero.
Wow.
And for decades, this provided the absolute foundation for global corporate growth. By mapping the grid and inspecting the cars, businesses achieved a level of predictable output that was unprecedented.
It gave them control.
Right. It created a world where executives could look at a static spreadsheet and actually feel a sense of control over sprawling global operations.
But, I mean, a highly detailed map is only useful if the roads stay exactly where you drew them.
Which they don't.
Right. In a modern, highly volatile global economy, they simply don't. What happens to that perfectly mapped traffic grid when a massive storm hits the coast?
Or a crucial bridge suddenly washes out.
Exactly. Or a competitor opens up a completely new highway overnight.
That is exactly where the old guard frameworks hit a wall. Structured processes are wonderful when the environment is static.
Sure.
But the moment a black swan event occurs, a sudden supply chain shock, a geopolitical crisis, a global pandemic, those static binders of workflow maps sitting on a manager's desk become entirely useless.
They're obsolete instantly.
Instantly. It could take a team of analysts 3 months just to gather the new data to draw a new map.
And the Technology Review article makes it clear that AI is stepping in to solve this exact bottleneck, but it isn't throwing away the underlying desire for structure and quality, right?
No, not at all.
Instead, it is injecting those old frameworks with real-time data analysis and predictive insights. The text emphasizes that businesses can now anticipate challenges and optimize processes continuously.
Rather than just reacting to past mistakes.
Right.
We are moving from a reactive posture, fixing things after they break, to a proactive, predictive posture.
Yeah.
The system is sensing the environment and adapting itself.
Here's where it gets really interesting because I'm looking at this and I have to push back a little on the terminology.
Okay, go for it.
We established that Lean Six Sigma already relied heavily on statistical rigor. And by definition, statistics is about looking at data sets to understand probabilities and predict outcomes.
Right.
So how is AI's predictive insight practically any different from just running really good traditional statistics? Isn't this just a fancy tech word for the exact same math we've been paying actuaries and analysts to do for decades?
What's fascinating here is the sheer scale, the speed, and the methodology of how that math is being applied.
Okay, break that down for me.
Let's look at the technical leap from manual statistics to modern machine learning. With traditional statistical rigor, a human being has to decide which variables to test.
So there's a human bottleneck.
Exactly. A human analyst says, I think weather patterns might be affecting our shipping times. Let's pull the data for those two things and run a regression analysis.
Right, they have to have a hypothesis first.
Yes. You are fundamentally dealing with historical data, looking at what happened last quarter to write a new rule for next quarter.
It's like looking in the rearview mirror to figure out why you hit a pothole 3 miles back, and then, I don't know, writing a note to yourself to avoid that street next month.
That's a perfect way to put it. And think about the financial cost of that delay. You still hit the pothole. The cargo was still damaged.
Yeah.
AI, specifically machine learning algorithms, operates entirely differently. It doesn't require a human to guess which variables matter.
Because it just looks at everything.
Pretty much. AI can ingest thousands of seemingly unrelated live data streams. We're talking currency fluctuations, social media sentiment, live sensor data from factory floors, global weather API feeds.
All at once.
All at once. And it autonomously finds hidden correlations that a human statistician would never even think to test. Furthermore, it continuously updates its own algorithmic weights based on that live data.
So it is not waiting for a quarterly report.
Yeah.
So going back to our traffic grid analogy, traditional statistics is a team of civil engineers looking at last year's traffic jam data to decide where to build a new stoplight.
Right.
But AI is essentially a centralized living navigation system. It sees a localized weather event forming on a satellite feed instantly calculates that it will cause a 20% slowdown on the main highway in 10 minutes.
And it acts on it.
Right. It autonomously reroutes every single delivery truck onto side streets before the traffic jam even has a chance to form.
Let's bring that back to the real-world logistics company we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, let's do that.
With AI integrated into their operations, a cargo ship crossing the Pacific isn't just following a static BPM workflow map.
Okay.
The AI agent managing that shipment is constantly pulling live feeds from port authorities, rail schedules, and weather satellites.
It's constantly watching.
Always. If the AI detects a high probability of a port strike in Los Angeles 3 weeks from now, it doesn't just alert a manager.
What does it do?
It can autonomously calculate the cost of rerouting to Seattle, secure the necessary rail transport from Seattle to Chicago, and rewrite the entire logistical workflow while the human supply chain manager is asleep.
Okay, but if the AI is doing all of that, if it is pulling the API feeds, monitoring the sensors, and rewriting the global schedules before we even wake up, my immediate fear is that the human workforce just becomes completely obsolete.
That's a common fear.
What exactly is left for the humans to do?
This is perhaps the most crucial pivot in the entire article. The focus shifts away from the capability of the software and directly onto the transformation of the workforce. When you introduce this level of automated operational excellence, you do not eliminate the need for humans. You fundamentally change the nature of the human experience within the business.
The source material actually argues that AI boosts productivity by freeing human resources from mundane tasks, right?
Exactly.
Which enables them to focus heavily on strategic decision-making and creativity. It explicitly states that this shift is what fosters true innovation.
It represents a massive reallocation of human cognitive load.
What do you mean by cognitive load?
Well, for decades, highly intelligent, capable professionals have spent large portions of their workdays effectively acting as human routers.
Just moving information around?
Yes. They move data from one spreadsheet to another, they manually verify compliance forms, and they spend hours in meetings trying to manually adjust those static workflow maps we talked about earlier.
Which drains the life out of you.
Absolutely.
I mean, anyone who has spent a Friday afternoon copying and pasting data between two different software platforms that refuse to talk to each other knows exactly what that feels like.
It's soul-crushing work.
It really is. Reading through this, I couldn't help but compare this massive AI integration to finally getting the ultimate intern.
Oh, I like that.
Imagine you walk into your office tomorrow and you are handed an intern who never sleeps, never complains, and handles absolutely all of your mind-numbing paperwork, your data entry, and your schedule optimization.
That sounds like a dream.
Suddenly, that massive administrative weight is gone. It leaves you entirely free to actually sit down, look at the horizon, and do the high-level, creative, strategic job you were originally hired to do.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what you were describing with that intern analogy is the core prerequisite for true corporate innovation.
Really?
Yes. The human mind is incredibly adept at lateral thinking. We excel empathy, at navigating complex moral ambiguities, at building relationships, and at dreaming up entirely new business paradigms.
All the stuff machines can't do.
Exactly. But a human being cannot do any of those high-level cognitive tasks if their working memory is entirely bogged down in mundane tactical execution.
So going back to our human supply chain manager, who woke up to find the AI had rerouted the cargo ship to Seattle.
Yeah.
If they don't have to spend their week manually calling real companies and putting out that logistical fire, what are they actually doing on a Tuesday afternoon?
They are looking at the next 5 years. They are negotiating a new, complex, strategic partnership with a supplier in South America.
High-level strategy.
Exactly. They are working with designers to create a zero-emission packaging solution. They are traveling to meet key clients to understand evolving market needs.
So their job becomes much more dynamic.
Yes. By removing the burden of maintaining the day-to-day operational machinery, AI acts as a catalyst for kind of human renaissance in the workplace.
Wow.
Creativity is no longer a luxury squeezed into the final 15 minutes of a Friday. It becomes the primary function of the human workforce.
That feels like a very optimistic view of the future of work. I mean, it's not just about robots replacing us. It's about robots handling the robotic work so we can actually focus on being human.
It's a huge shift.
But we also have to look at the cold, hard reality of the business landscape. Because, let's be honest, executives aren't investing millions of dollars into AI just to make their employees' days a little more creatively fulfilling.
No. Of course not.
At the end of the day, it is about survival in a fiercely competitive marketplace.
Internal process improvements and happier employees are the mechanism, but the ultimate goal is external market dominance.
Exactly.
The technology review piece unpacks the broader economic implications of this adoption. It argues clearly that companies fully embracing these technologies are gaining a distinct, measurable, and perhaps insurmountable competitive edge.
The text highlights three specific external benefits that result from this new AI-driven operational excellence.
Right.
First, it allows organizations to adapt quickly to market changes. Second, it streamlines operations to a degree previously impossible, which obviously cuts costs.
Natural.
And third, it allows them to ultimately deliver superior value to customers.
Let's define what superior value actually looks like to the consumer, though.
Yeah, what does that mean in practice?
When a company's internal operations are perfectly optimized by AI, they can offer their customers much faster delivery times, lower price points, because their overhead is reduced.
Because they aren't paying for all that waste.
Exactly. Higher quality products with fewer defects and highly personalized customer experiences.
That's a huge advantage.
And because their human workforce is entirely focused on strategy and innovation, the actual products they're selling are constantly evolving to meet consumer demands faster than anyone else on the market.
So what does this all mean? I want to pivot this directly to you listening right now.
It's a critical question.
Whether you are the CEO of a massive logistics company, a middle manager at a mid-sized marketing firm, or a tech enthusiast trying to understand where the economy is heading, why is it absolutely critical that you understand this specific shift?
You really have to grasp the stakes here.
Right. Why can't a legacy business just look at this and say, you know what, our old Lean Six Sigma process has worked fine for 20 years. We're going to sit out this whole AI trend.
This raises an important question about the nature of technological adoption and market economics.
Okay.
You cannot sit this out because AI is no longer just a tool you can choose to take out of the toolbox when it's convenient. It is a fundamental transformative force.
It's not optional.
Not at all. If your competitor embraces real-time predictive insights and frees their entire workforce to focus on innovation, while you are still manually analyzing historical data from last quarter.
And forcing your employees to do mundane data entry.
Right. The gap in the value you can deliver to the market will widen exponentially. It will not be a slow, manageable decline for the legacy company. It will be a rapid, brutal obsolescence.
It's the difference between trying to navigate a cross-country road trip using a paper map printed in 1995 while your competitor is using a real-time AI-powered satellite navigation system.
Oh, that's a brilliant comparison.
One that routes them around traffic and weather in real time. I mean, you might both eventually reach the destination, but they are going to get there days faster, having spent a fraction of the money on gas.
With a lot less stress on their engine.
Exactly. And they will have already closed the next deal before you have even parked your car.
The foundational desires of business management, the need for efficiency, structure, and quality control that birthed Lean Six Sigma and BPM have not disappeared.
No, those are still valid.
But the mechanisms for achieving them have been completely revolutionized. You are no longer managing the process. You are managing the AI that manages the process.
Which brings us perfectly back to the core mission of today's deep dive. We wanted to cut through the relentless hype and see how AI is actually rewiring daily business operations.
And we've seen exactly how.
Yeah, drawing from this insightful technology review piece, we see that AI is entirely reshaping the concept of operational excellence.
It really is.
It is taking the incredible statistical rigor of Lean Six Sigma, combining it with the comprehensive workflow mapping of business process management, and injecting those old-school frameworks with real-time predictive power.
It creates a dynamic, self-optimizing system that seamlessly handles the chaos of daily operations.
Unbelievable.
And the direct result of that technological triumph is the freeing of human creativity to focus on what only humans can do, strategic vision and innovation.
It is a massive paradigm shift in how we define work itself. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over today.
This is a big one.
We've talked a lot about how adopting AI gives a business a massive competitive edge right now, but let's play this out to its logical conclusion over the next decade.
Okay.
Think about a future where this level of technology is no longer an advantage, but the absolute baseline standard.
Where everyone has it.
Right. If AI eventually allows every single competing business in a sector to achieve perfect operational excellence, and every company has software that can perfectly predict market challenges and optimize supply chains.
Then what's left?
Exactly. Will human creativity, empathy, and strategic risk-taking become the only remaining ways a company can possibly differentiate itself in the marketplace?
When operational perfection becomes a widely available commodity, the uniquely human element becomes the only true premium.
It's something to keep in mind the next time you hear a headline claiming AI is going to make humans entirely obsolete. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the headlines, keep exploring the changing world of work, and we will catch you next time.